All right. Welcome in to Out of Touch. John Alden and Mitchell Page here with you on a Thursday, a Friday, a Monday. Who knows when one of the 25 of you are listening to this show. I hope we have 25 regular listeners. Honestly, many of you are probably, if you are a regular listener, whether you're a family member or you're a friend or just some random person that found us on the internet, you're probably a little frustrated that we're not uploading very consistently. And, that's all of our faults. I'll primarily blame it. Yeah, we're just busy human beings. And that's probably going to be the norm from now on. We're not going to fully abandon the podcast, but because we are busy human beings.
Yeah, go ahead, Mitchell. Get busy, if maybe we start a Patreon or something, but this is all for free, dude.
Exactly.
This is all for free. We got to find a way to make some money. And we'll get into why, because we got a big weekend coming up. And I do need your opinion. And one of the 25 or 12 or however many listeners, I'd like your opinion too. I'm in quite a pickle.
Okay, let's go ahead and dive into the pickle then.
It's not really even a pickle. So, kind of. I have a 5-month-old. Money is tight.
Mm-hmm.
Life is hard, dude.
It is hard.
It's hard. And tickets, obviously I'm a big IU guy. It's been probably, I think that if I'm honest, the biggest miss of not being able to record as frequently is not being able to talk IU football and the experience that I have in life. Because when we get a little in touch on your show, that happens every day, and you should listen to it for sure. We talk just about the game and talk, okay, what are we doing versus this team and that team, and how does the college football playoff look? But we haven't really been able to talk about the way it's impacted my Wednesdays.
Okay, so I didn't realize that had an impact on your Wednesdays.
Every day.
First of all, that's another reason. The fact that Mitchell comes on with me every Monday to talk Indiana football, especially during the season that they're having, I almost feel bad to ask him to come on and do this with me as well. So I never have an issue when you don't want to do an Out of Touch episode.
No, this is the other one. Yeah, I could talk forever, but this is more where we talk about just regular stuff.
Of course.
My personality is very much centered around the sports teams that I like. I'm a 7-year-old when it comes to cheering for teams. Like, it impacts my week when Indiana loses or when they win. And I've been really happy this year. Everything seems a little brighter. Everything. It's been an unbelievable stretch that you have to pinch yourself every once in a while. But now back to my dilemma. So when it was first announced that they're going to play Notre Dame, I think you're crazy if it's not the game that you wanted as an IU fan.
It's just a game I've wanted for like 3 weeks, and you've heard that from me several times.
Yeah, it maybe isn't the best matchup, and I think it actually might be the best matchup of the teams that they may have played, but just in-state, going to a place like Notre Dame, you have all of the people that are Notre Dame football, Indiana basketball fans that you just want to dunk on because they're cheering for the wrong team in the fall. It's a game you kind of want. So tickets were $1,300 almost immediately per ticket for the top row. Times are hard. Babies are expensive. Life is expensive. Got a house I got to pay for. I don't have $1,300 to shell out on a ticket, let alone 2. My wife Laura has been to every game with me. So we're thinking it's kind of a twofer special. So tickets have come down a little bit. They're like $950 to $1,000. But I still don't have that.
This is like the male version, the Indiana male version of trying to buy Taylor Swift tickets.
It's Taylor Swift. I would have come on here and been like, it makes no sense. 3 nights she was in Indianapolis. Every night there was 10 billion people here, all paying $3,000 a ticket. I don't get it. Now I do. I get it. I get it. If I was 24 and an idiot, I would open a new credit card and buy a ticket no matter what. It's the dumbest thing in the world, but I would do it. Now you got some other things, but I got offered some tickets, $600 a piece.
That is quite the discount considering what everything else is going for.
Right. And I want to bring Laura, but I'm not sure I can shell out for two.
I'm really surprised, and I don't know how, football alumni, I don't know how all that ticket stuff works. I'm surprised you don't have an easier end to this game. Like,
Yeah,
especially
so,
in like maybe it's because it's a road game. Like, I'm
yeah,
sure it would be different if this was at Memorial Stadium next week.
100%. I don't think it would be much different, to be totally honest with you. It might be a little different, but we were told pretty early that even if we hosted, there wasn't going to be the free tickets that we get to every home game.
That's true, because this is all the ticket revenue, not all of it. Oh, yeah, it's true. All the ticket revenue goes to the CFP. Concessions goes to the university.
So it's all ran through the college football playoff, but it's operated exactly how a standard in-season game is. And if Indiana was hosting, I mean, you think about what the allotment was, like 3,000 tickets for Notre Dame Stadium. There's 85,000 seats or whatever. At Indiana, there would have been 1,500 tickets or seats for Notre Dame fans. Those prices would have been unbelievable, double maybe. And it's so I don't fault Notre Dame for they're just keeping their consistent policy. Their games are expensive already. Kind of knew what you were going to get with Notre Dame. It's just the way that it is. They got a home playoff game, and they're trying to keep as many Notre Dame people in the stands as they can. With that being said, I'm trying to paint that place cream and crimson. I don't know. It's pretty irresponsible to buy these tickets.
Have you had pushback from family members about buying these tickets? Or
No.
have you not even mentioned this
That's
yet?
my biggest problem. Laura, she can probably hear me. She's an enabler. She wants me to buy them or buy one of them and go,
gotcha.
even if it's just by myself.
So she'll never make you feel bad for...
No, she's the best, and it's the worst because it's she's so awesome. She's so awesome, and only thinks about, like, we were just having dinner right before we had this, and I told her about the tickets, and she's like, it's so much cool. Like, you need to experience this. Yeah, of course I want to go. Of course I have a blast. Of course I'm going to watch. But it's like, you need to experience it more than anything. So if you can't buy two, buy one. And even with one, I'll probably have to do some crowdsourcing. Have to ask for some Christmas cash or something. But I'm in a little bit of a pickle. I also don't want to get beat up. I'm a little bit of a psycho.
That's true. We've heard your stories many a time, especially about going up against volunteer fans. Now, I'm sure Notre Dame fans... I don't think
Notre Dame fans are that. The Notre Dame fans...
But what if you instigate? If you're the instigator, maybe that changes some things.
Yeah. I don't think I would be an instigator in this kind of environment. Like, this... And it's not I don't think it's the end of the season, but you go to something like this just to take in like, at home games, all the games I've been to, yeah, everybody's the enemy. But in something like this, you almost want to just take in the whole environment. It's unbelievable that we're even sitting here talking about this. I'll probably, whether I'm here or going to the game or not, drive up Friday, maybe take Laura with me, and just be at game day. And then when the game starts, just drive home or something. Whatever. I just want to be in the environment. It's going to be unbelievable. I did hear something that was kind of funny. 20 years from now, the Trivial Pursuit question or the Trivia Night question, where did the first college football playoff game happen? In the state of Indiana. It's nuts.
State known for basketball, and now you're making history on the football side of things.
Right. That's just, I don't know what to do. I don't know.
This kind of brings up something that relates to me. I was thinking about this the other day because, of course, I'm also a poor and have a baby on the way and will not be buying tickets.
Yeah.
But I'm also experiencing the dilemma. I'm worried I'm going to regret that I haven't been to a single game this year. And I'm also, and the regret will only be enhanced if this type of season, and again, this is few and far between. 11-1, playoff, whatever. I think Cignetti's going to have a great tenure at Indiana, but I think it's going to be very, very hard to be this good.
12 teams.
Oh, listen.
That's it.
Exactly. Only 12 teams.
Yes.
So my point being, yes, I do think Indiana is going to continue to have success in the years to come. But I'm worried I'm going to look back on this and regret not finding a way to see a game in person at least one time.
The Miami Hurricanes this year won 10 games and didn't make it. They have a Heisman Trophy level quarterback and didn't make it. It's not, it is almost not, you can't even believe it. It's unfathomable that this is a reality. And the fact that you haven't been makes me want to fight you.
I know. Well, here's my original plan. And there's been so many times where I thought certain games were going to work out, but because of my other job, it didn't. My initial plan was to go up for the opener for FIU, which of course would have been very easy to get into. There was not zero hype, but it felt more artificial in some ways back during the first few weeks of the season. It felt like it was more hype than substance, if you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought I was going to be able to make it up for week one. I can't remember why that ended up not being the case. And then fast forward to the middle of the season, I had my eyes on that Nebraska game.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, as long as Louisville, the other team that I'm required to cover because of my job, they played at the exact same time as Indiana that week. So I wasn't able to make it up for homecoming in Nebraska or against Nebraska. From there on out, there's always different. I remember there was a couple different times where I took vacation weekends. I didn't like always go anywhere super like extravagant or whatever, but I had some vacation days to burn. There were times where my wife and I were doing things, and then times where we were doing stuff at church, whatever it may be. There was always something that got in the way. I haven't missed a game. I always found a way to watch everything if I didn't watch it on time.
Yeah.
But it just baffles me that I've been, other than maybe last year as well, I think I've been to at least one Indiana football game since the year 2010. I mean, it was the final year of Bill Lynch as the head coach. I believe I've been to at least one, and also I'm not including 2020 in that as well, of course. But every season from then to now, minus Tom Allen's final year, I've been to every game, or been to one game, I should say, not every game, one game every season. But now this is about to be 2 seasons in a row, and I'm worried. I'm just going full circle with it. Am I going to regret this? Probably, but I'm an adult and I'll get over it. That's just the way life works.
Yeah. And hopefully the environment's as good next year as it was this year. But I said from the beginning, John, there was magic.
Magic. You did.
Magic in the air. There was something about it. I just so I've been a little distracted here in the last 30 seconds while you're talking. I just got a text that really compounds my problem. This is such a first world problem.
Were you given an offer you can't refuse?
One of the guys that I texted about the tickets said he got us a flight up there.
Like on a private airplane?
Like on a little, plane. What? What?
And you're just able to, if you have ticket, you're able just to.
I said, I may have found some tickets, only 2 though. Would you go with me? They're $600 a piece. And he said, better yet, I got us a flight.
Oh my gosh.
I can't go.
I'm not going to guess who that is, but I have somebody in mind who that is.
Yeah. I can't go without Laura. I can't. That's my biggest dilemma. I can't. She has, and I'm going to talk about this a lot because she is amazing. When I met her, they used to watch Packers games just because they wanted to say "Go Pack, go" and be the cheeseheads. She didn't watch football. She didn't even know that I played football for the first couple months we were dating.
Were you afraid to use that as like I'm a football player?
Well, I was so used to people not believing me because I was so little.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I don't know. Yeah, it sounds really stupid, and this is going to sound almost bragging, but it's not. Like, you could use that almost as a crutch. Like, it is a cool thing that I did. You could, and when I was a freshman, I absolutely did that. Hey, I'm Mitchell. I play football at IU. You just do it because it's cool to you. But as you get older, like, I wanted to meet somebody that liked me for me. which is stunning that she does. But watching her just buy in because I like it. That's it. I think she enjoys the games now, but for a long time, I'm like, we're watching the games in Charleston, going to the bar to listen to me scream at the TV on a little like it's SEC country. There's SEC
You say
games
like
going
they're
on.
probably wondering
What
who
is
is
this
this
game?
dumbass that watches Indiana football in
I
South
was wearing
Carolina?
candy striped shorts, hat, psycho, dude, a psycho, and we were terrible, terrible. There was no reason, and I'm uncontrollable. This is like 4 years ago. I'm better now, I think.
You're growing up. You're a father.
I'm a little better now, but she just says.
I want to ask you real quick, how much of your, I mean, it's probably multiple things. It's probably one, they're good, but do you think a lot of you being able to kind of temper back? I don't even know if that's how you phrase that. Like kind of settle down. Do you think a lot of that is because you have a kid now?
I think part of it. I think there's also some realization, like, what are you doing, bro? These are college kids that are doing the same dumb things you were doing. They're trying their best. They're not trying to lose. Now, to a certain point, you are invested, so you get annoyed when they keep losing and don't fight like they were for the last 3 years. But I think winning does help. But like I watch, I'm a big Miami fan as well, and I was the same way with Miami. And you watch them play 2 games where they're just terrible. And you kind of watch the games and you get disappointed, but you just kind of move on. And that's been better, but she's been ride or die. As big a fan as I am, she went to the Purdue game and sat in the 0-degree weather in a blizzard while I'm taking my jacket off, swinging it around in the air. What? And she just is excited to be there. She can't wait to go. And she deserves it. She's earned it. So it's really like, I don't know if I would if it came down to it and I had to leave her here, one, she'd be here with the baby. It's really hard for me to justify like how that's so immature and selfish of me.
I gotta say this is one I can relate to this in some way because, and again, I don't have a kid yet, but I will come May. Every year I go to Louder Than Life, and again, it's not like I'm traveling a few hours away. This is something that's here in Louisville. I already worry about going to spend an entire day acting like a fool at a music festival in a mosh pit while my wife is here taking care of what will be, what is it? I guess a 4-month-old, 3-month-old, something like that. But I don't think we should have to feel that way at the same time. Maybe once I actually have this daughter of mine, it'll feel differently.
It changes.
But it's one of those, you say it changes you?
It does. Yeah, I'm gone all day for work. She's here. She crushes everything that baby's rolling over. She crawled a little bit today. She's getting smarter. She's growing. And it's all because of Laura. I'm doing my best, but it's all because of her. And an environment like the IU Notre Dame college football playoff, just being under the lights, she just deserves it. Like, I want her to go more than I want me to go.
You're such a good husband.
No, it's and she can hear me, and I don't tell her this enough, but it's true. It's true. There's not many situations that you can be in where you have someone that's like that for you.
I think that's really true. Cool. There's, and probably this is just a guess, but I feel like in more relationships, more often than not, the spouse that is not invested as much in something, it doesn't even have to be sports. A lot of times there can become a level of annoyance. Like Definitely. They don't want that to be a part of your life.
Especially when I'm so over the top. Yes.
So maybe this is why you feel so lucky and special to be in this scenario because it is such a rare thing to have going on.
I don't know, and I don't know Alicia, and I'm sure you
Oh,
guys have this.
actually, let me interject too, because I don't want to make it sound like I'm painting my wife to be the opposite of that, of what you're saying, because she's not. She doesn't like, if I would have said, hey, let's go to the Purdue game in that weather last week or whenever that was, she probably would have gone, but she would have been a little more weary about the fact that it was going to be mid-20s, snowing, that type of stuff.
That's
I
funny that
love
you
that.
say that. I posted a story or something on Facebook at the game, and she responded to it and said, "Wow, that looks cold."
I didn't know she did that. It's funny.
I hadn't looked at Messenger until this afternoon, really, and I saw that she had commented or replied back to it on the 30th, like, "Wow, that looks cold."
That is funny.
That's very funny, but it's when you find something like that, it's amazing, and yeah, I'll say it again. I don't know. I think that's the biggest dilemma of all of it. Is she doing something like that with her? I mean, she's my best friend in the world. I'm texting other people like, hey, do you want to go? But I'm not as excited if she's not there.
It's just a shame that there's no like in for you to just be able, I don't know, go hang out with one of the higher ups in the press box or whatever. But
Dude,
again,
yeah. Okay, now we can hash it. Every time Scott Dolson sees me, he's like, Mitchell, what's up, man? Great to see you.
Does he really pull that on you?
Can you believe this? Can you believe what's happening?
I'm like, if he's having that conversation with you, then yeah, you should be getting the little nudgy nudge right there.
I think it was the Washington game, and this is kind of funny, but Laura and I, one of the team doctors for the team, when I was there, has a suite, and we saw his son randomly, didn't even know it was his son, walking into the game. We were going to our seats in the player section or whatever, and I asked him where he got his sweatshirt. It was like a black Indiana football hoodie that looked team issued. I'm like, where did you get that? And he said, oh, my dad got it for me. And I said, well, who's your dad? And he said, this doctor's name. I'm like, no, this is the guy that I play in that golf outing every year with. Like, we're close. So I go up, I'm in his suite for the Washington game in the south end zone. I have no idea why I'm there. I shouldn't be there, but I'm just there. And Scott Dolson and President, I think her first name's Pam Whitten.
Yeah.
They come walking by. Scott gives me a big hug. The president's like, oh my gosh, you play. That's amazing. And
now, Scott Dolson, he was assistant AD back whenever you were playing because he was Fred Glass.
Yeah.
He was. That's why he's familiar with you. Gotcha.
Well, and because I was good, bro. What the heck?
Well, what I mean by he was around during your playing days.
Yes, that is the only reason that he knows who I am. I'm totally messing with you.
Well, I know you are. I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, I've seen different people, and it's pretty easy to just get tunnel vision when you're playing, but I've always been pretty cognizant of trying to introduce myself to people that are doing things that I want to do. So Fred Glass and I got kind of close. Every time I'd see him just on campus, chat with him, how are things going? And so that's how I got to meet Scott a little bit way back when. And when he got the job, super pumped, obviously. Just kind of a natural relationship. I wouldn't say I don't text him or anything, but
if you did, you may have tickets right now.
Golly, what a disappointment. I should have got his number at Washington. What was I thinking? Not only would I be at the game, I'd be standing on the field right next to him. Except I'd probably be on ESPN because I'd run on the field. I'd try to put on a helmet.
We need a Mitchell Page like viral on camera moment that's completely candid. Like nothing you plan. You just so happen to step in front of the camera at the right time doing something completely obnoxious.
Yeah, it's just pure out of joy because that's all of this is. It's not out of like I'm trying to get famous or I'm trying to name. I love it so much that I want to be around these people because they love it like I love it. And it's you get like people like you make relationships on common interests, right? And when I'm around people that care as much, I don't even know why I care about IU athletics as much as I do, but you get around people that are like that and care. Same thing with you. Like, we've been doing this for a year, and it was born out of a love for Indiana athletics. And
out of a shitty football team as well.
yes. Well, we started it, the year after 2020?
So Dustin and I, we started This Week in Indiana Football going into the 2021 season. It was just he and I initially. Yeah. We had you on for a one-off episode early on in the season before things really kind of went off the rails.
Before the targeting call.
Then that happened, of course.
Yep.
And then following season, I guess you and I had connected via a few other appearances on the previous show that I used to work with.
Yep.
And through that, you joined us for another season of This Week in Indiana Football. The team was even worse, so that was horrendous. Following year, we begin this, and then you and I start doing review shows for Hoosier Illustrated, who I'm working with now. Yep. And now I'm doing my own show with Hoosier Illustrated. It's all just become something very magical, right?
It's very funny. We were giving predictions for games, and I was predicting Indiana to win like 0 to -6. Like, somehow they were going to find a way to have negative points. I knew we weren't going to score, but too many penalties or something. I
always remember you referencing a little green dog blitz that Indiana did on Nebraska. I don't know why I always remember that moment for whatever reason.
Yes. I can't even remember what we called it now. It was some kind of green dog. Blitz. It was a green dog delayed, but the way they did it, usually that's a middle linebacker cross blitz. And they would bring the safety into the box, and it was really creative, like really hard to block. So they disguised it so well that it was a variation of what I was used to seeing. Michigan State used to do it all the time, and Indiana just did it a little differently, and that's what caused so much havoc. We were always in the backfield, and you had Tywan Mullen out there playing good defense and man coverage, and they were throwing it up because we were getting so much pressure on him. And this has been a very IU football intense, and I think the reason.
But again, like you said, this has been more about the emotional impact.
Yes.
For this than the product on the field.
And I think that 2020 felt like a flash in the pan. It felt like we captured lightning in a bottle. We heated people up. We won a lot of 50-50 balls. Got kind of
on top of the fact that you're playing in front of no fans, COVID nonsense. All the other good teams were bad. Michigan was bad. Penn State was horrible. They started 0-5 that year. Wisconsin was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Only team that was good was a team that beat you was Ohio State.
Yeah. It was a nonsensical year, and it just, like I said, lightning in a bottle. I think the reason I knew this was going to be just a magical season is they didn't do any of that. They just beat you traditionally, like Ohio State beats teams or Oregon. I mean, they just did. Yeah, they gave up a lot of points to Penn State, but it's a methodical destruction. That game was never in doubt. Yeah, Penn State made a good run. They fought, but it never felt like Oregon was going to lose the game. And that's the way that Indiana has played all season. They do it like big boy teams do. And that's what's been so exciting. It's not flashy. It's not magic. It's not misdirection. It's right at your face. Ooh, that was weird. I think I just ran out of breath. I just tried to say face.
I didn't notice it.
Okay, good. It's right at your face. That's what's made it so fun, because you're watching, and now you look at the NIL numbers. You're watching.
I saw the top 12 in the entire country, if I'm not mistaken.
They're like number 9.
Maybe I miscounted.
They were above Oregon.
They were above a lot of teams. I was surprised.
It's unbelievable. You're hopefully. I mean, Signetti, he says what's on his mind, and I think he says some kind of crazy stuff in the way he says it, but it's all been factual. I mean, he signed an 8-year contract in Indiana because he believes they're an emerging superpower in college football.
I got to say this. I bet next year, I mean, there will always be some creative sound bites that he'll give us, but it will never be near the level that it was, because it won't need to be. Like, I always think of the Indiana's not getting picked 17th in the Big Ten moving forward with Kurt Signetti.
He had to create some energy, some liveliness in the fan base. His first couple of months, I guess his first month was get players. And then after that was build some buy-in, build some interest. A lot of people went to the first couple games because couldn't believe what this guy was talking about. Like, are you crazy? This is Indiana we're talking about, not Clemson. And then he went out and did it. And so when he says things like the university's bought in, the NIL fund is right where it needs to be, this is where I want to be for 8 years, that's a little different.
I mean, this dude's, I mean, I hate to call it his retirement home, but the retirement home will be waiting for him when he's done, whenever that is.
Yeah, like this is his job. This is the one he wanted. And he had a chance to go anywhere he wanted in the country after this. No doubt.
By the way, shout out to Indiana for hiring him the year that they did, because his alma mater, West Virginia, just had an opening, of course, this offseason. I guarantee you, if Indiana had not moved forward when they did, he'd be going to West Virginia this season as opposed to Indiana.
Yeah, and he's chose to stay at Indiana because we're bought in. And that it just encapsulates why I think this next weekend is going to be so fun and why it makes the decision that I'm facing very difficult.
So we're about 30 minutes in, and this is, again, it's been a one-topic episode, and that's totally fine. Yeah. But as we try to put a bow on this, let's try to make some headway on where we think we're going here. I don't want to force you to decide what you're going to do.
Yeah.
But let's go through some of the mental gymnastics and figure out which direction you should probably go in.
Okay. I'm ready. So I've been waiting 31 years to having the ability to do something like this.
Are you 31 right now, just to clarify?
I'm 31 years old. And I cheered for Miami when I was like 8, and I still do. But when I think and I'm biased, but the best team ever assembled is the 2001-2002 Miami Hurricanes. So I was about 8 years old. But back then, it just seemed like they existed on another planet. They played football, and I watched it on TV. Those players didn't exist to me. They weren't real humans. It
was otherworldly. And that was the same with musicians, basically any celebrity. It felt like you could not reach them. They were on their own planet back in those days.
Yeah, they were larger than life. I couldn't imagine that they tied their shoes the same way I did. Like it just never. I was only 8 too, so it compounded the larger than life kind of thing. And so this has been so different because, the program's in a completely different stratosphere, but all the places that they go, the practice field they practice on, the stadium they play in, I have my own memories of running around on that field, scoring in the same touchdown end zones, the same touchdowns. That was like an 8-year-old saying that. The same end zones that they did. I know that the way they go to class. I know the way that they meet. I was in those meeting rooms. Those wide receivers still meet in the same room that I met in for 5 years. So I feel this connection to the program that I've never had before. It'd be, even if Miami was in the college football playoff this year, they still feel like they exist kind of in a different place. I've seen them a couple times in person. And when I get there, you can't even believe that they're actually there. And it's not about the players. That's more about the program. This to me is so much more personal. And there's a chance if I go to this, even if I don't go to the game, when the game starts, there's a good chance I'm going to cry. Just of pure joy, because it's
the lead up too on that Friday evening into 8 p.m. is going to be something else too.
Oh my gosh. No way. I'm supposed to work that? Are you nuts? No chance. I will be doing no meetings. I'll be making no cold calls. I'll be sending 0 emails. I got to be locked in. I got to focus. So that's the big pro, right? I've been waiting a long time, and all of us. There's people that have been waiting 80 years.
Again, there's a reason the demand is what it is for these tickets.
100%. It's a once in a lifetime kind of deal, and hopefully not, but up until now it is. So that's
because there's no telling what next year, the year after, anything following this season looks like right now.
Yeah, you talk about the Taylor Swift tickets. She's probably going to go on tour again.
Yeah, she's going to tour again, maybe in a couple of years. But like the big demand for this was like, okay, she's like literally doing all of her albums, X amount of songs from whatever albums. Like Definitely. It felt like it was a once in a lifetime experience that they were selling with that concert.
Yes, and that's kind of the feeling that I have right now. But it doesn't diminish it completely, but if I can't experience it with Laura, how much is that really worth?
Well, here's another thing that we haven't humored yet. If Indiana wins, they go down to New Orleans. They'll play Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. Do what?
I'm in the ticket lottery for that already.
There's a lottery for that? I was going to ask about.
Yeah, so former players have a ticket lottery that you could put your name in and buy them at face value.
Was there one for this too?
No.
Okay.
No. This was purely good luck. We're cheering for you. As it should be. Indiana would do the same thing if they were hosting. It's just the reality of how things shook out. So I'm not mad at anybody that this is the situation for this game, but it is what it is.
I've got to say, though, for this ticket lottery, they should give people who have attended more games and been physically involved with the program a better chance at winning the lottery than those who are just now coming back and experiencing it.
Yeah, and I don't know how they're doing it. I got an email, put your name in here, and we'll see what happens. So I did that immediately. Put it in for 2. It's not guaranteed.
Do you think it'll be more difficult for the average fan to get Sugar Bowl tickets than this game against Notre Dame?
No, Indiana will
I'm thinking now from if that's my chance to go down and see
Indiana will get half the tickets. Indiana,
so it's like a traditional bowl game at that point.
They'll get half the tickets that are allotted because it's a neutral site split 50-50 between us and Georgia. Now, will it be hard? Yeah.
Yeah, it'll still be, I'm sure, expensive.
If you don't buy it immediately, Georgia travels as good as anybody. That's an Ohio State level travel.
And they're literally right down there next to Louisiana.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard ticket to get as well. I don't think it'll.
Not to mention they already have the ability to buy those tickets because they know that they are in that game. Or do they? I don't know. Can they buy them right now? I don't know.
I don't know if they've been. I don't know if they've been offered yet. I don't. My guess is no, but they're ready with their wallets as soon as they get released.
They have time to think about it.
Yeah, but I mean,
make their plans accordingly.
When you talk about demand, I think the second highest was Texas and Clemson, and it was like $420 for a ticket.
My gosh.
Yeah. Like the Ohio State Tennessee game is $370. It's not even, I think you can add the ticket prices of the other 3 games together. And they may be a little more than the get-in price for the Indiana game right now.
And again, it goes back to just being once in a lifetime opportunity. Yeah. Like they're selling an experience with this, as we've said now multiple times.
Yeah, it's going to be unbelievable. But I got to I don't know.
Let me ask you here's worst case scenario. Let's say you buy these $600 tickets a piece, and whether it's Laura or someone else goes with you. Worst case scenario is you buy these tickets and Indiana gets their ass beat. Would that make it feel like it was still worth it to you?
If Laura was there, yeah.
Okay. So really, you really need your wife to be able to go with you. That's kind of what it's come down to, is what I've deducted from all of this.
It's the crux of the whole thing. Yes. And I can't afford to. I can barely afford.
But I think at this point, at least from my understanding, you're willing to make the financial sacrifice if you're able to find a way to get Laura to go with
I will raise the money. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I will.
GoFundMe, get Mitchell to Notre Dame Stadium.
I tried that.
Did you really?
I didn't start a GoFundMe, but I tweeted like, hey, I don't know how I'm going to get there, but please help me. It didn't go as well as I would have hoped, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm not sure. I gotta.
Yeah, again, today's December 11th as we record this. It's now officially 9 p.m.
Yep.
And the game is December 20th. You got about 9 days. Again, or 9 days from now, the first quarter will probably be in the books, and things will already be rolling up in South Bend.
Yeah.
And
it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Sorry for that was a Mitchell-dominated episode.
You don't have to apologize at all. I mean, it's not that it was dominated. It's just it was one topic, and it didn't bother me one bit. I could talk Indiana football all the time. And if there are people who listen to the show and they're not looking for Indiana content, then, sorry about your luck. But I do know there's a lot of crossover between this and the other Indiana show, In Touch with Indiana Sports, that
Yeah.
I do with Hoosier Illustrated 3 times a week.
Yeah. And if you do listen to it, ask around. Don't I'm looking for some input. You've got my dilemma. Looking for probably start a little poll. Should I go? Should I not? What should I do?
I've got a suggestion. I'm not going to say this one while we record, because it wouldn't be putting you on the spot. But well, again, I'll just save it for when we hang this thing up here in just a second. But I do have a potential solution for you. Maybe you've already thought of this, and I'm just a complete dumbass. But I do have another thing that I'll suggest here in just a moment.
I like it. This was a fun episode. I appreciate you listening to my dilemma.
I'm excited I'm going to be with family on Friday night of the game. It's our annual family gift exchange. We have siblings from out of town coming in and that type of stuff. We're going to go do something Friday afternoon and evening. We're going to come home, do the gift stuff, and then we're going to sit down on the couch. I'm the only true Indiana fan, mind you, in this group of family members. Most of my family is U of L fans, but they're ready to take this in. Not as much as me, but it's going to be nice to have
some
them
friendlies. They're going to be friendly.
Louisville and Indiana is not a rivalry. It did annoy the hell out of me whenever they got, Indiana basketball got their ass handed to them by Louisville in the Bahamas a week or so ago, just because I'm around Louisville fans all of the time. But they're still very friendly human beings.
Of that coach.
Hold on, you just cut in. You just cut out with whatever you just said.
Yeah. Are they huge
I think you're
fans
back
of Pat
now,
Kelsey?
though.
Yeah. Are they huge fans of Pat Kelsey down there?
I think they're playing right now, and I believe they were down to UTEP at halftime, and they've lost 3 games in a row. So they were big fans of Pat Kelsey. I think most of them are still big fans of Pat Kelsey. And he has a very you won't like this, Mitchell, but Pat Kelsey has a very Tom Allen kind of, personality, if that makes sense.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
And he's not like yelling LEO every 5 seconds, but he does kind of bring that same type of charisma to his personality.
I have a little connection to him. He was the coach at Charleston while I was down there. So I saw him out and about, and he was really promoting that program. I was down there when they went on they were 31-3 or whatever, went to the NCAA tournament. So I have a little affinity for him and his family, and I think they're really cool people. I want him to do well. It did suck that they smoked Indiana.
Oh, it made me, and I saw so many people on Twitter like putting things like there's no score high enough. And it made me think of Indiana football with Kurt Signetti. I'm like, this is the opposite of what we get to do every year.
I don't like this.
I hate this. I was so bad. So bad. I hate it. I don't like
this at all.
All right. Let's end this episode, and then a lot of good stuff with football coming up the next couple of weeks. And of course, if you like all the football talk, check out In Touch with Indiana Sports. Mitchell's on every Monday. And of course, next Monday we'll be talking, we'll kind of be deep diving into Notre Dame, and we kind of did that this past Monday, but we'll have more to talk about next week.
And I may have a solution to my dilemma by then. So
that's right. If you want if you want to find out if Mitchell's going to be at Notre Dame Stadium, tune in on Monday to figure out if that's going to be the case or not. So until then, and until we do another Out of Touch episode, whenever that may be, I'm John Alden. He's Mitchell Page. Dustin Schuette's out and about in the ether somewhere, and we'll talk to you next time.